Well, it's time to go fishing. First thing I always do when I get set in the boat is push the power to my Garmin's after I've got everything unhooked. The excitement of driving down the boat ramp, it's always fun because you know, it's the unknown, but you know you're going fishing. So that's always a good thing. So as we back down this ramp, we're actually backing down a lake north of San Antonio called Canyon Lake. And this isn't the most popular bass fishing lake in the world. In fact, it would be pretty far down for most people, but like many lakes, they go through different resurgence when the lake goes up and down. And this is a lake that really takes some pretty big, you know, up and down depth changes on its water level. Right now, it's close to 12 feet low. I've seen it probably 25 feet high when we fished it, where we were up, you know, fishing campgrounds and picnic tables. So right now you're fishing what cover's left in this lake, and we're gonna go out and see what all we can figure out, while we also look back at several other trips that we've done on this lake and how we've tried to figure them out at different times. You know, I actually have a lot of history on Canyon Lake when I sit here and think about it, but a lot of it is more recreational boating type history. You know, when I first moved to San Antonio, this was a popular lake for Angel, and I would actually come out here. She'd jump in the inner tube, we'd float around, swim with the kids, jump off the saltwater boats, we'd go eat at some of the restaurants that are on the lake. I mean, there are a lot of times we spent a lot of time here, but I also have a lot of times where I've just come out fishing, mostly because I wanted to see a different lake. It wasn't always because Canyon was a great fishing destination, it was just a different place to fish. And you know, me and some of my buddies fished a few team tournaments here 20, 25 years ago. You know, we would come out and just cast and wind. We filmed here randomly on and off for a long time. Most of our trips, we catch 5 to 10, you know, fish when we come out. A lot of times they're not very big. This is one of those lakes that's known to be, you know, not the most fertile in the world, but had a lot of fish. Big guy. Might be a little smallmouth. The Guadalupe. Come up here and bit it. Out here in the middle of nowhere. State bass of Texas. You know, when it comes to fishing this lake, boy, there's a lot of diversity to it. There's a lot more timber, flooded timber in this lake than people probably realize, and you see that when the lake goes down. And a lot of it really follows the old Guadalupe River channel. When you go up the river, you can really see the wood and the timber on both sides of the lake. As you come down the lake further, and if you'll watch your Garmin mapping, you'll see big swings, channel swings, where the river itself goes right up against the bank, and a lot of times you'll find big timber there. You find timber along some of the points in the backs of some of the creeks, and so it does actually have a lot of wooded cover. There we go, little guy. Sit there and watch you swim around and come back over there and eat it. I mean, we're literally drop shotting now in about 20 to 40 foot of water over these trees. And you can see these trees as we go along, and you'll see the fish just kind of swim around at different angles, and every now and then we get, you know, one to bite it. And it's total vertical fishing with the Garmin Live Scope. When you look at Canyon Lake, I mean, it's a lake that it goes up and down. You know, the Corps of Engineers use it for flood control, to kind of keep the flows of the Guadalupe River managed, you know, both above and below. I've seen this lake, I don't know, it seemed like almost to the top of the dam in a huge flood years ago. And we fished out here then. I remember throwing crankbaits and up around picnic tables. We were flipping willow trees, doing all kinds of things. And now I've seen it 12, 13 feet low in droughts and different things. And you know, that's the cycles that a lake like this goes through. Got him. A good one too. Oh yeah, that's a good one. You got that. God, they're pretty in that clear water on the frog. Oh yeah. You got a mouthful of frog, buddy. You ain't getting off. Come here. That's what high water recently flooded. You can get back in here with a bait like this and catch you some shallow water good ones. That's a good old fish right there. Yeah, we come in here about a week ago and there was no water right up in here, and then we had some heavy rains. Pretty good little bass right there. Pretty good bass. Go back and roll up there. See ya. Go find some bluegill to eat. We are on the world famous, not to be confused with Choke Canyon, Canyon Lake. This is north of San Antonio, and I say world famous a little bit facetiously because it's not really a very well-known fishery in a lot of ways. We've fished up here on and off over the years. It's an hour north of San Antonio, 45 minutes south of Austin. There's a lot of other lakes in the area that are a lot more well known, but this is a lake that really kind of sets up as a fun lake to fish, a lot of recreation on it. It's not a lake by any means that is known for bass fishing, and it's really low. It's almost 12 feet low right now. If you look on my Garmin screen, you'll see that I've adjusted my water levels to be down 12 feet. And the intentions on this is we're gonna fish 2 or 3 times up here to kind of watch different patterns, different things that happen on this lake. And this is the first time I've been up here in, I don't know, maybe 2 years. Usually when I come up here, it's to break in a boat, or we're kind of playing. Angel and I will come up here and go inner tubing, or kind of, you know, swimming with the kids at different times. I just thought, hey, let's do something different. Let's talk about lakes as they go up and down, as so many of the lakes do, and how we attack them. And at 12 feet low, water temperature 67 today, I gotta think there's still some fish though, still on the bed, some that are done for sure. And we just kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. And you know, I've been in this area before. This is like Party Cove area behind me. I know this little point right here, it really becomes an island almost at most water levels. And I've caught some fish in here, and I just thought this is where we're gonna start our journey on this little deal of looking at different ways to catch them and how to catch them, and we'll see what we can uncover, see what we can share as this lake goes through several different phases. Got him. Watched him come up and eat it. Like that. Boy, strong fish. Pretty good one. Come here, buddy. Watched him on live scope out there on a stump. Golly, good old bass. Good Canyon Lake bass right there. Nothing wrong with that. Boy, I mean, he smoked that jerk's head. I mean, I would just think these fish would eat this right now. It makes all the sense in the world, but I'm wrong a lot of times. I mean, we got out here on a windy point. There's stumps all over the place. And this guy come up, slurped it. That's a good little bit of fish. Healthy too. I like that. Nothing wrong with that. After they've spawned, or I mean, really a good bait anytime is a soft plastic jerk bait. This is a Big Bite Baits jerk shad. I mean, it's like a lot of them. It's a 5-inch bait. I like this bait here because it's got just a small little groove in the top where I can put my hook, and I throw it. As windy as it is today, I'm actually throwing it on a 4-aught extra wide gap Gamakatsu hook. And I put a little nail weight in here. I mean, if it was calmer, I might not throw that as much, the weight in here as much, but I needed to get down a little bit. These fish, I've seen several on the live scope in 3 and 4 foot of water around these stumps, and I make a long cast with a 12-pound sunline sniper, and I fish it pretty erratic with pauses. And when it, you know, looks like a dying wounded bait fish going down, and they'll, you know, sometimes you feel the bite, sometimes you see the bite, sometimes it just takes off and you don't really feel anything. So it's a bait that I love to throw, especially when that water temperature gets 65 to about 72 and fish in this manner. Now I'll throw it on a Texas rig too. I'll put a little bitty lightweight and hop it around. I know guys that'll throw it on a Carolina rig. I mean, it's a really versatile bait. But in this case, in this scenario here, when fish are done spawning, I mean, I really think they get on it really good. And you can go down these old rocky banks. I mean, there's another fish right there. I just made a long cast out off that rocky bank. Picked this one up. That one hit it pretty aggressively. He choked on it. Another good healthy one. You like it when they bite it. You like it when they bite anything, don't you? Good. Ready? Cool. Watched him. Not a real big guy, but he bit the old lead shaker, flipped into his brush pile. Go back and grow up. You know, one of the neat things about coming to a lake that's real low that you've fished at various times is you get to see things that you've caught fish on and kind of analyze them. And I mean, I've caught fish on top of this before where it kind of drops off, and I kind of see now, you know, these fish were probably hanging right here feeding on this bluffs, but I didn't really know what was under there. Now I do. And when I come back here when the water's high, it gives you an idea this is really just a big bluff end. And so now I've got a visual picture next time I come in here and the water, you know, comes up, because almost all these bodies of water will, you know, I mean, I've actually seen this lake 20 feet high where Canyon Lake flooded. It flooded all down Guadalupe and all the way, you know, Dunlap and McQueenie were flooded and houses. So I know eventually it's just reality. It's going to happen again, and you kind of know where the fish should go in those situations. So cool, so cool. I mean, I'm on the Guadalupe River channel where it swings in here at Canyon Lake, and there's lots of big trees that, you know, the lake's really low right now, so you can actually see all these trees above ground or above the water level. And I kind of figured I could ease down here and maybe catch a couple on top water. Throwing a big new walking bait by Spro. He's not a big one, but he bit like he was 5-pounder. Go back there and grow up, buddy. You know, for years we would come out here, man, you'd flip these trees or you'd drop shot around these trees, drag a Texas rig around them, and, you know, and you'd catch these 10, 11, 12, 14 inches. Every now and then you'd catch a keeper doing it. And, you know, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, sight fishing out here, you could come out here during the spawn and really see them real good sight fishing. There's marinas on the lake that a guy could go and target the marinas. You can fish boat docks, you can fish the tires out in front of them and, you know, randomly catch them there. And topwater, I've had some really good topwater days on this lake. Got it that time. It's gonna be a striper out there. I saw him, oh, maybe not, a little bass out there schooling. I'll be surprising. That's why you throw it, something jumping or something feeding. You never know what it's gonna be. This is a little 12-inch bass, but I saw him out there and I really kind of figured it was gonna be a striper, but it wasn't. And there may be 2 or 3 of them because several of them jumped on it. I'm gonna throw back out there. Out there schooling and on something. Oh man, Gentry saw a white spot on the drone. And so I kind of eased over here to boat ramp 20 and threw it out across there, the old lead shaker. That fish went, That's too cool. You know, looking at the lake as a whole, it's a lake situated between Austin and San Antonio, mostly known for skiing, water recreation, a lot of houses around it. A lot of people call this part of Texas home. The Guadalupe River above and below, it's so well known for people who like to float the river, have a lot of fun. For me and my family, I mean, that's kind of what we've used this area for. It's a fun place to go, you know, out swimming. I can cast a few worms around while we're doing it. Sometimes we catch some fish. Sometimes we just, you know, have a cold beverage while we're floating around on the tube. But I must say that recently Canyon Lake has got a lot of grass in it, and it's kind of made the fishing explode in certain areas. He is running right at me. I don't think he's very big. That is a big old crappie. Look at that. That is a big old slab. You know, I've caught, there's a lot of hydrilla up here at the mouth of the Guadalupe on Canyon Lake, and I've actually caught a lot of crappie on places like Toledo Bend, this time of the year, taking little jigs and little swim baits and slow rolling it around, and that's really what that was right there, just reeling around. He knocked the fire out of it. I feel like drought, as bad as it is for a lot of things, is eventually good for a fishing lake because you get new growth and new vegetation, new fertility. And then when it comes up, those bait fish have a place to spawn, the bass have a place to spawn, and all the fish that can hide, you know, too. I'm just absolutely blown away. I mean, I'd heard there was hydrilla in this lake, but wasn't prepared for what I'm seeing. And that goes back to not fishing memories all the time. Normally when I fish Canyon, we come out here and Angel's floating around on the tube and just kind of dragging her around. We'll fish around the middle part of the lake, and I very rarely ever come up this end of the lake. And, you know, I'd seen a few pods of hydrilla on the other end of the lake, and we caught some, and sure enough, there's a lot of it up here. Oh, goodness gracious, that was a great bite. I hopped it up off of a log over there, and then, I mean, he just smoked it along the edge of that grass. Look how healthy that fish is. That's awesome. Green, full of hydrilla. I mean, this lake is. Wow, that was fun. Go back in there, buddy. I can honestly tell you, I never thought I would be dropping in the grass on Canyon Lake, but it is full of hydrilla right now. And that was, I've been, you know, throwing a swim bait around, fishing up there, and I kept thinking, man, I probably need to be dropping to catch a bigger one. And sure enough, got a much better bite than everything else we've been doing. So I think we'll be dropping for a while. Good bite. I think as a whole, you know, me looking back at fishing this lake, I've come out here and I've thrown crankbaits and swim baits and top waters and, you know, soft plastic. I mean, probably over the years, I've thrown about everything on this lake at different times. But, you know, what you have to keep in mind when you do that kind of fishing is you got to adapt to how the lake's fishing at that time. You know, some of the ways that you may fish it when it's high are not going to work when it's low, and vice versa. And you as the angler, you know, you got to keep an open mind because every trip is going to be a little different. The water temperature is going to be different. The fish are going to act different. And as I look back on the years on Canyon Lake, it's a fun lake to fish. You just have to understand, in my opinion, kind of what you're getting in for. If you're looking for a 10-pounder, there's probably better choices in Texas. Well, there is better choices in Texas. If you're looking for a fun place to go fish, beautiful scenery, lots of nightlife, places to eat around it, Canyon Lake's got all that. Got him. I'm in here. That's so cool.